I gotta look away when you're staring me down with daggers. I'm not sure what to say, but no matter what, it don't matter. The comical light got me wide-eyed this time. I touch your tongue tied, go ahead and make up my mind. Ooh, lips are turning blue, chemicals in you, trying to take me out of my body. Ooh, with the panasonic view, looking right through me, you're gonna take me out of my body. Out of my body. I don't know how you do it, yeah. But there's a rhythm in the room and I can't keep up. Oh, do you feel it moving? A bit of bitters in the wound, yeah, it feels like us. The comical light got me wide-eyed this time. I touch your tongue tied, go ahead and make up my mind. Ooh, lips are turning blue, chemicals in you, trying to take me out of my body. Ooh, with the panasonic view, looking right through me, you're gonna take me out of my body. Out of my body. If it's alright, won't you say why? Know you got plans, but I got the time. Heard you told a friend, now I gotta mend a little bit more than we like to pretend. If it's alright, won't you say why? Tell me your sins and I'll tell you mine. Heard you told a friend, now I gotta mend. Give it a try, baby, pull the pin.
Steam lifts from the canopies as the four of you make your way through the thickening foliage of the jungle you find yourselves in. Strange bird calls ring out through the treetops as the early afternoon light finally breaks its way through to the jungle floor. Myth and Nikki make small talk a few feet ahead of you, and Imogen lingers silently at your side, studying the strange ring she'd stolen from Maze. Similarly, you hold an equally odd artifact as you make your way through the jungle. The book in your hands seems to write out its contents as you turn its pages. It presents itself with a semblance of sentience, and has introduced itself to you as a Gears book. It explains the inner workings of your strange affliction, calling it something called a Genesis vein, and does its best to assure you that you're probably not going to die. What are you doing?
Well, that's comforting. Well, yeah, we're heading towards the thick-leaved plant, if I recall.
Yes. So you've traveled a good couple hours, sort of like out towards the temple where you found Imogen and reacquired the book. So you've traveled most of the morning, and now sort of the second time slot is sort of loomed in, and it's going to be like maybe an hour's trek if the terrain favors you.
Does that mean I get more energy?
You do. You get 20 more energy as you feel just like a strange, almost like it's almost like a sucking sensation from almost like your wrists into the rest of your body.
Okay.
And you feel a part of you that is maybe not necessarily 100% you, kind of like almost pulsate within you.
Well, I now am at 100 spark.
Hmm.
So I should probably begin to invest stuff now so that it doesn't cause issues. It is a little annoying, but I guess I'll do it. The Genesis Spark is instant, right? It doesn't take a time slot to put it in.
Yeah, the Genesis Spark, you can put it in any amount at any time.
That's kind of huge. In that case, it's not annoying at all. There was a whole list of stuff that I could do here, right? Oh
Yep.
man. Oh man. It's so much.
You know, you have this this strange system of what you can only assume are sort of veins and arteries now within you. Whether it's a symbiotic item or living thing or other sort of organic ability that you've picked up, you're not entirely sure. But you know that there are certain pockets where energy collects, and right now a lot of them are kind of blocked and they almost hit like a dead end, but you feel like you could push through some of that. And you've also gathered a little. The book has sort of let you in on a few things, knowing that once you have those spaces where energy coalesces, you can form those sort of nodes into other sort of traits that can benefit you. Things that help sort of strengthen your body, circulate energy in ways that lets you perform what other people might perceive as almost like reflection style abilities that are more innate and more of a genetic adaptation.
I am going to spend 50 Genesis Spark to unblock a node on the tree.
Wonderful. You do, and you see beneath your skin one of these little veins where you can see it just under the skin. It sort of like you almost watch it move, and it's a little uncomfortable as you feel just kind of like a squirming, and it grows a little bit down your arm.
Does it matter which one? Do you need
no,
to know?
Not. I don't need to know right now. But if you have a preference for where they grow a little bit, right now you've got sort of like they appear as like a small ring on your chest, and as you sort of unblock them, they will spread out across your body.
Cool. And then the one that I just unlocked, I am going to continue to spend 30 points out of 30 points to gain, like towards making a absorption artery.
Wonderful. Yeah, you feel this strange sensation as you push through this block. You almost feel like you create almost like a glass blower blowing into some metal to create like a spatial sort of glob. You feel like a pocket form. And to begin with, it's just an uncomfortable absence of space, but as it begins to fill, you're able to almost like shape it into something that feels better. And it integrates into you slowly but surely. As you're doing this, up ahead, Myth sort of stops and turns. We're going to be traveling for a little while longer. It might be an idea to stop and perhaps eat. I don't know about the rest of you, but a small rest might be useful.
Yeah, I think that's a sensible idea.
I saw a large tree in the canopy up ahead. It might be a good spot to bed down for a second.
And I know short rest seems like a sensible idea.
You head on through and you find a small little clearing. There's kind of a short but very windy tree full of sort of like odd low-hanging fruit pods, they almost look like. And you settle beneath it. Myth has actually packed a fair bit of food, seeing as she knew she'd be traveling today. Both you and Nikki, on a sort of tight schedule prior to this, haven't, but she's packed more than enough for people. And you get to sort of eating, and you have a little while if you want to take a short rest. If you have any questions for the Genesis book or anything else you'd like to try, you're welcome to give that a little go.
What is
You
my
see,
legendary body? No.
You
Yeah,
see,
hang on, give me a second.
as Imogen, your new sort of roguish spatial friend that you've made, is studying this sort of ring. Myth sort of comes over and offers her something to eat, which she takes a little skeptically, and they seem to get talking. And Myth seems to be trying to offer her something, which she doesn't seem particularly interested in.
Can I listen into that for a second?
Yeah, you can listen into it. Myth seems to be offering to maybe she could help identify the trinket. You're looking at it a lot, and if you don't know what it does, I'm quite good at that kind of thing.
Hmm.
And Imogen's reluctantly sort of like looking at it, looking at her, trying to get a bead on sort of Myth's intentions here. I'd
Wait, which ring?
the ring that she stole from Maze, the one with the
Oh.
hourglass symbol on
I
it.
was going to say, because I'm still wearing
Yes,
the
you
Myrror
are.
one.
I'd rather keep it on me if that's all right. I'm not going to steal it from you. I'm not that kind of person, I promise. She puts her hands up in the air with a sort of innocent gesture. And Imogen sort of winces and considers it, and then she'll reluctantly sort of put it down in front of her on a small stone, and agree to let Myth sort of have a look at it. And you watch Myth focus on this ring that she puts on a small little stone, begins to sort of. It almost looks like she immediately starts setting up tea, like a little tea set.
Hmm.
But she doesn't bring out anything other than like a little cup and a small flask of water. And she breaks a few small like tea leaves into it, and begins sort of swelling it around in the mug before tossing aside uh, the remaining water, leaving just a few scattered leaves clung to the bottom. And as she sort of covers that with one hand, you watch her eyes sort of flare blue. Uh, and she seems to begin using her ability almost like focused from this little strange like almost scrying-esque style teacup.
Hmm.
Uh, and focus on this ring.
She's a chronomancer as well?
Seemingly so.
2 chronomancers. Kind of crazy.
And she begins sort of like drawing her hand around this teacup, and then like slowly that circle gets wider and wider until it's passing over the ring. And you watch it sort of the ring itself begin to very softly glow with a pink energy. And Myth goes, I'm not entirely sure the specifics. It is a recently made artifact, and I'm getting that perhaps it has something to do with a connection, perhaps communication.
Hmm. Like a
But it,
ring you could use to send messages.
perhaps that kind of thing. But it is very minor by artifact, sort of. You know how you get some in the dungeons and they look like they have been around for centuries and they sort of read that way. But then you get some people who can sort of break them down and build them back up, and they can make sort of new artifacts outside of the dungeons. This is more what this thing is. It seems a new creation as opposed to an ancient one.
Hmm.
And Imogen gives a slow nod, and will sort of very quickly sort of swipe and repocket that. I see.
Do you think it can be tracked remotely?
Myth gives a bit of a shrug. I'm not sure. I haven't been able to get that good at specifics yet, but I think in time I could probably figure that out.
Might be worth being a bit careful then, I say. To her, to
Mm.
Imogen.
Imogen gives you a little nod. I don't plan to keep it on me for too long once we get back.
Hmm.
Well, make me an investigation check quickly.
Sure.
as everyone sort of seems to settle into eating a little bit.
21.
21. As you're just sort of eating and relaxing at this little tree, you notice in the ground around you, just absently, you catch like one. There's like a small gecko-like creature. It's a little stubbier, but it is on its back, upside down, unmoving, other than like its legs kind of like occasionally twitch. And then as you're like seeing that one, you see a second and a third, and you just become very aware that there's like a couple of little, very small critters like geckos and frogs that seem to be just sort of led stunned in the grass.
I kind of point them out. What does that mean? Do you guys see this?
Yeah, they look around and they again suddenly become very sort of aware of all of these little things. And you hear Nikki go, look up there. And she points sort of above your head. You can see a couple of these lower fruits. They're sort of like green seed pod looking fruits. And a couple of them further up the tree have these little flowers. Almost just beginning to bud sort of around them. And the ones on lower hanging branches don't. They're sort of lacking those flowers, but you can distinctly see little like holes and little bite marks out of them. Maybe those plants have something to do with it.
Do you think they are paralytic?
Perhaps. Do we have any sort of plants that might match that description on our list?
I'll check the list.
You check the list. From a quick look of like the list of names of fruits and like things that you've got there, you know it's not a mangleberry, which are the sort of yellow fruits you've seen before. Could be a hoax fruit, but they're not. They don't come with descriptions. So from the list, you don't see anything in particular.
Don't think it's anything on the list.
Might be worth picking up though. Having a paralytic to use could be a useful bit of our arsenal.
Can I try collect some?
Yeah, go for it. I think both you and Imogen are going to separately try and give them a go. Which ones are you gunning for? Are you going to go for one of the like lower nibbled ones? Are you going to try and sort of go a bit higher into the branches?
The higher ones, if possible.
Sure. Make me a survival check.
Oh wait, that's wisdom.
Roll me a d4.
3.
You begin sort of sawing at this sort of like the upper branch of the seed pod to get it off. And as you sort of begin to jostle and sort of knock your hand over one of these like buds, as you've just about got the branch sort of like loose and it's about to fall, so you reach in to sort of grab the bud so it doesn't fall to the ground. One of these little flowers immediately flares open, and they're tiny. They're like maybe the size of your thumb, but they let out, and you have to like really hold on and turn your head away for a second. This like flash of like super bright light for a second. And then they almost like burn up in the process. You can imagine for a small creature, this would probably zap them and stun them pretty good. But you sort of like being a human and being able to put a hand in front of your face, you are able to sort of like shrug off the worst of the effects, and it doesn't quite stun you.
Okay.
And you can roll me now. Knowing this, you can roll me a d6 if you'd like to see how many of these you managed to get off the tree.
1.
Yeah, you managed to get sort of one of them. You can see there are a couple more further up the tree, but they don't super look ripe. But you can add 4 to that as Imogen from the lower bulbs that have none of these flowers left. They're not necessarily as appealing to eat as maybe yours are. They've got like a few holes in them here and there, but you gain 4 candle bulbs.
Okay.
You can note that down in your inventory. And soon after, shrugging off the little flashes of these plants, I assume you get going. You start heading. This would be northward, back along the path you came.
Yeah. Towards the bushes.
Wonderful. Make me just an athletics check to see what pace you at. What pace do you guys keep? I'll make a group one.
I crit.
Yeah. With sort of like Imogen's help, maybe like navigating as well, sort of some of the pathways that she took on her way through. You guys make very quick pace, and it's not long before you come sort of back out to that small sort of like river clearing.
Oh.
And you make me a perception check.
Yes. 9.
9. You don't sort of immediately see it as you begin to like pass through this shadow clearing that is itself relatively sort of sorry. It's pretty empty here.
Mm-hmm.
And it's only as you sort of get like halfway through across this like very shallow sort of river bit, you realize it's kind of too empty. As
Yeah,
like the
so-
bird sounds that you've heard prior are very much absent in this space. And as you sort of like get through, you begin to smell just sort of like distantly something rancid.
I'll try and be a little stealthy about it, but I'm gonna go check it out. I'll tell you. Others, of
Yeah.
course.
Yeah, and Imogen herself has already sort of like fallen down into a sort of like stealthier stance. And the others follow suit. You can make me a stealth check, please.
It's another nat 1. Just what hits me. 6.
Yeah, you begin to sort of make your way up this little river, and you realize very quickly, especially coming from like a city where a lot of the places that you walk through are stone, walking through water is loud and a little harder than it looks. And you kind of have to like very quickly shuffle into the bushes as you sort of get up there.
I just want to point out that of the 8 rolls I've made today, 4 have been nat 1s.
Hey, you gotta get the bad rolls out
I
like
have
early, right?
50% nat 1 rate right now.
But look, it'll swing back. When it swings back, it's gonna be crazy, right?
I mean, what's going on?
You're on the downswing. As you quickly sort of like shuffle out of the water back into the bushes, you put your hand against a tree, and it's kind of a smaller tree, and it jostles a little bit, and some birds that were sat in that tree but are being quite quiet take off and cause like a bit of a commotion, and you hear the forest again sort of go silent for a second as you like pause and wait, and in that silence you hear a very like almost like meek sort of like and then it falls quiet.
Is that a little baby elephant?
You've got no idea.
I look to the others. Did we go towards it?
The others sort of shrug, but you see Nikki sort of nod. I think that was one of the little ones that we saw before. I'm not quite sure what could be going on though.
Be wary for an ambush, and we'll head in.
You head in, and you're not traveling too long. You're like a couple feet up the river, and you can clearly sort of see in sort of on an island amidst very sort of trampled and cast aside, almost like a lily pad looking flowers that clearly in some altercation this sort of landscape has been momentarily torn up. A very large, massacred, what seems like half-eaten corpse of one of these larger elephant creatures, and looking generally in your direction, and almost like with its little nose kind of still sort of probing around at the face of this thing and wrapping around one of its little tusks, you can see one of the smaller
No.
sort of baby elephant looking creatures.
That's so sad.
Its little ears sort of flap as it seems to be watching the bushes in your direction.
Hmm.
But you're not quite sure what's going on. You can make me an intelligence or a survival check if you'd like.
Well, I remember there was the thing in the bushes from before.
Yes. In which case, you remember there was a thing in the bushes. You remember that you heard some birds also take off. And there was a bit of a commotion as you sort of left the area. From what you can tell, looking at this creature, it seems to have been it's pretty thoroughly torn apart. Whatever was here has definitely maybe eaten its fill, and you don't know if it is still lingering or if it's gone for now or what the deal is.
Okay. Is this the big elephant? Because I know there was like one really big one.
It's not the big one with the gemstones on its tusks. So you saw one of them that was like slightly bulkier, the sort of bull elephant looking creature whose tusks were just completely full of spark shards.
Yeah.
This isn't one of that. This is one of the sort of smaller tusked ones. However, what you can see is a sort of vaguely spherical object wedged in the sort of chest cavity
Hmm.
of this larger creature.
What about the little baby elephant?
You're not sure. It still seems to be sort of like touching its little trunk onto the tusks of this little thing. And again, as it sort of like looks around, and it seems to after watching the bushes for a moment, sort of settle again and lets out another little like sort of further down the river to no response.
Oh, okay. I wanna help the little baby elephant, man. That's so sad. We should help it. Maybe try and get it back towards the other elephants. It'll die if left alone.
I mean, there's that, but there's also the concern of what killed that thing.
If we can get closer to the body, perhaps we can learn something.
You should still be careful. It's still a beast. Just because it looks cute.
A nod.
And you see like Nikki clutching a branch like next to you, it's like stifling tears, like it's just a little guy.
Okay.
Maybe we could coax it out somehow. I bet it's hungry.
If we approach it slowly, maybe it'll be, I don't know, less afraid.
Perhaps. It might be worth maybe only one or two of us going out and the others waiting just in case. A cornered animal could be aggressive out of fear, so we'll want to be careful either way.
I'm happy to go out, because it is a little risky after all.
Nikki seems like very determined. I'll go with you.
Okay. And then the two of us head out.
You see, as you sort of step out, your shadow sort of deepen a little bit. You just catch it out the corner of your eye. And, yeah, are you taking anything with you? Or are you just gonna, how are you sort of approaching this as you're gonna sort of emerge from the bushes?
Yeah, I'm moving the bushes slowly with I guess maybe if you still have some of the berries from before.
Yeah, you have one of the little seed pods. You can see from like one of the little holes that clearly a bug at some point has sort of made out of it. If you crack this thing open, it has almost kind of like red pomegranate kind of seed looking things inside it.
Yeah, so I'll do that.
So you,
offer it.
yeah, sort of pop this seed pod open and begin to emerge from the bushes. And as it sort of rustles, this little creature almost like toots an alarm and sort of whips around towards you. And he seems to watch you somewhat frozen for a second. maybe just a flat animal handling check to begin with.
Wisdom. Okay. Okay, right. That's a 5th in 9.
You can make it with advantage because Nikki's with you.
It's back to back as well. 14.
14. You step out sort of into the light. This little guy, he immediately sort of turns to you. You can see there's clearly sort of a moment of like, are they going to attack me? And quite similarly, as it sort of like stands frozen, and then you watch, not necessarily in a gesture that's immediately aggressive, but is perhaps a little testy, its ears almost like flare up either side of it, as if it were trying to like make itself a bit bigger.
Hmm. Okay.
And it watches you, but it doesn't. You have the chance to sort of lower the tension or approach if you would like. As it sort of toots its little trunk towards you.
What would appease it? I don't know. I guess like you can't leave anything in the water; it just get washed away. So I guess like you could just approach it slowly, or try and like make a toot noise back. But I don't know if that would happen. That would probably not go well. Can I try and like maybe like make a persuasion roll to like try and calm it down, or is that still animal handling?
It would still be animal handling. If you're actually no, if you want to try and use the food to sort of like peace offering towards it, you can make me a persuasion check if you'd like.
Yeah, I'll give that a go.
As you sort of like reach the edge of the water here and get a sort of look at this thing, there is kind of weirdly a level of intelligence in its like eyes and the way it's watching you.
And that wand.
You you step towards it, and the moment your foot sort of like enters the threshold of the water, with this like seed pod sort of extended, it swings its trunk and sort of splashes in the water, and it charges you, but being a sort of baby creature, it's not necessarily a charge that is difficult to dodge, but it does sort of like begin sort of splashing through the water towards you. It has tusks, but they're very much in sort of the little way of like little nubs. You can make me a dexterity saving throw if you'd like to get out of the way. But as it charges you, you very much sort of like, you begin to see sort of like readied movement from the shadows in the bushes behind you.
13, and I kind of like try and say like the hold.
Let me... Okay. You see the movement sort of like shift downwards again. Although it's definitely moved into a position ready to strike. You said you are 13?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you roll to the side out of the way, and Nikki similarly sort of like follows. It's not a difficult one to dodge, but this little guy, you see it almost squeeze his eyes shut as it sort of charges the two of you, and it splashes through the water, sort of runs past you and knocks itself into a tree, and sort of knocks its head against it for a second a few times before peeking an eye open, realizing it like hasn't gotten you and whipping itself around again.
Can I try and make another offering?
Yeah, you can do. You're definitely like further back towards the sort of corpse now. If you want to sort of like maybe find some sort of way, you think it's maybe not super interested in this fruit at present, and maybe it thinks that you're trying to get to what you can only assume is its mother.
Like we can make a walk slightly back towards it, and like.
Mm-hmm.
I guess like just crouch lower so that whether that's imposing. Would that help?
Yeah, I mean, you can give it a go. You can try and make yourself look sort of like less opposing, less sort of predatory by almost like lowering yourself down into a
More like a crouch.
almost like like a more sort of like grazing crouch.
What would I roll for this?
You can make me an animal handling or a persuasion,
Okay.
and I'll have slightly different outcomes. You're being assisted while you do this,
Okay.
as Nikki's like also trying to like pet.
14.
Please like be chill. 14. You see this thing is like very sort of standoffish, but you see its eyes sort of look at you, flick back to its sort of mother behind you, back at you, and it seems to process that in this time you're both not attacking it and also not going for its mother. And it seems wary and confused, but it doesn't charge again as it sort of like seems to shift its weight, and its ears sort of are still sort of puffed up a little bit, but slowly begin to almost self-soothingly flap back against its back as it shifts sort of like left and right and slowly begins sort of edging back in your direction towards its mother.
Mm-hmm.
And it's gonna go to past you. And if you do you move? Do you sort of what do you do as it sort of like approaches to move past?
Maybe turn to move with it.
Okay,
So
you
I'm not
you sort
necessarily
of
towards it, but I'm going like. with
yeah,
it.
you turn just to like regard it as it goes past, and it does sort of like keep an eye on you. But as it sort of moves past and you don't attack it, it does put its back to you somewhat as it reapproaches its mother and again goes back to sort of like feeling over the face of it with its sort of trunk. And it's almost looking like between you and between their mother, just now like aware of your presence, but not immediately agitated by it. As it's sort of papping the face down and making sad little noises. You see it sort of go around to it finds like the other trunk in the water and it tries to sort of like tug it a little bit, but it's kind of too heavy for its little trunk to pull.
That's sad. Can I help? But like, what's it trying to do? Trying to get their attention?
It seems to be just sort of trying to get its mother back up.
Sad.
It is. It's an unfortunate law of the jungle moment.
Can I try and? Because I know that they were going up the river.
Mhm.
I want to try. Can I like reach out as if to like almost like take its trunk, like almost like to hold hands and then try and like lead it forwards?
Yeah, you can if you sort of like get up to the corpse of this thing as well within touching distance, and it seems to sort of watch you, but seeing that you're not like digging in aggressively, it seems to have like deemed you not a predator at the very least. You can make me a persuasion check if you want to sort of like maybe reach your hand out towards it.
I crit.
You reach your hand out towards it, and for the first time you see, what you can. It's uncanny, right? Because this is a very bestial creature, but you almost see a flash of human recognition in the eyes. as like it seems to see this gesture and understand like another trunk reaching towards it. And as you sort of reach out, it sort of turns its little nose, and it doesn't grab you, but it does sort of almost like high five, sort of touch its trunk to you, and the little nose flaps sort of squish over your fingers for a second as it just seems to sort of feel your hand, almost in like a I'm identifying you kind of way. And as it does so, you see and you sort of understand a deep sense of mourning as it sort of takes your hand, squishes it a few sort of times, and then pulls it down and touches it to sort of the face of this creature on the ground.
I think I'll let it.
And it sort of guides your hand across this thing's face, over sort of towards its tusks, and it kind of leaves your hand placed on its tusk and goes like and you see this tusk. It's huge. Like your hand, one-handed, doesn't quite like fit around it, and this is the smaller tusk, like of the big creatures. You see at the bottom of it there are 3 sort of like deep clawed grooves. And those grooves sort of seem to continue down, and you can see where clearly like severe sort of almost like lacerating, ripping motions have torn down this thing, noticeably from the top of it. It almost seems like something has gotten on top of it, and though these creatures don't bleed, it almost seems as though if it did bleed, this is a very serration-like hunting method.
The lacerating thing.
Yeah.
So it seems to me like a, I don't know, I want to say like a panther or something of that kind of nature.
Definitely something. You sort of think back. There are plenty of stray cats in Deo Grace, and you've sort of seen them hunt. The quiet sort of ambush predator approach, the pouncing. It does read as feline to you.
Well, I make like a. I guess I'm gonna try and make a little like toot noise and then point in the direction along the water.
Okay.
And
Yeah, make me a performance check. As you see, Nikki's also approached, and she's like picked up one of the halves of these little fruits, and it seems to be sort of like poking it with its trunk as well, and begins sort of like taking a small little trunkful, and it does sort of eat a few of them to like Nikki's glee.
8.
8. You make a little toot noise, and it stops eating. It's got its little trunk in its mouth as it's like got these berries there, and it pauses and sort of looks at you, a bit confused for a moment, and you hear just like a wet sort of like, and it seems to sort of spit back out these seeds and reach them over towards you. And it fully steps forward, and it like splats it on you before you can really be like, no.
Okay.
As it seems to try and like give them back.
Yeah, I'll hand it back over to it. And then I guess I'll like, but actually maybe before I'll just repeat the gesture again. Like, can I just attempt a second time?
You can, but you're not sure how much it. You repeat the sort of gesture and again sort of like do a little toot, and it seems to not quite tilt its head, but again sort of like sway, not quite understanding, but
okay. I'll give the seeds back.
Yeah, and it just sort of like takes the whole seed pod at this point. You start to hear the little crunching as it munches away. And Nikki's sort of able to reach up behind its ear and give it a little bit of a scratch. Poor thing.
I mean, if we could, I'd try and take it with us, but I don't know what it eats really, and we'll have to leave here eventually.
Hmm.
But if we could reconnect it to its pack, then maybe it has a chance.
Maybe. Well, it'll probably stick around water. And I suppose on the bright side, if whatever hunted its mother's still around, it's still got a bit to eat. And it looks like it was aiming for bigger prey. So maybe it'll be alright.
Hmm. Do you really
Its
think we
troop
should
might come
just?
back up here.
Do you think we should just leave it here though, alone?
I don't want to. I'm just, oh gosh. Maybe we're going into an area of sort of thicker foliage, right?
Or not?
Maybe there'll be places where, like that tree, plants are growing. Areas where there's more vegetation for it. Maybe if it follow us for a little while, even if we don't find its herd, we might at least be able to lead it to a place with easy food.
And then we raise the problem of it getting even more lost.
Hmm. Ah, you're right.
Uh, how long has it been? They weren't moving that quickly. We might be able to catch up.
Maybe. It's a bit of a detour, but we also don't know where this river sort of goes.
I nod.
But it might be worth it. Plants grow around water, right?
It's true. Uh, Maybe it is futile to try. It's just sad. I've never enjoyed loss like this. Losing a mother is hard.
And you feel a little sort of like trunk prod at your face as it seems to recognize an expression, and uh, it almost seems to empathize with what you're feeling, though you don't necessarily think it can understand your words. And it just kind of you feel a solace in it, just sort of connecting and touching you. It's like an "I see you"
Hmm.
acknowledgement sort of gesture. Damn. And both you hear sort of like a rustling, and it looks up as both Myth and Imogen sort of re-emerge from the bushes as well and come to join you, seeing that it's maybe not quite a threat.
Mm-hmm.
Well, it seems you've made a friend at least. What do you want to do?
I'm torn. I feel like I need to take it down the river and reunite it with its friends and family. But at the same time, Isla's dying. And we need the flowers.
I hate to sound oh, wrong voice, sorry. I hate to sound heartless, but sometimes it's better just to look out for your own. As sad as this is, chances are others will come through here in the weeks to come. And those beasts are almost certainly not quite going to make it out. Perhaps it's better this one hits it off alone.
Yes, I suppose you're right. If we kill the boss and this whole place goes, what happens to the animals here?
This is something I would like to find out. I think the gates are fascinating small places, but there is not much study into it. Not in most of the cities, at least. If you want to get answers to that, we need to find a way to be invited into some of the study halls in Manacle. That is where a lot of the gate's research is held, but it is a shame to lose such diversity of life, I think. And Nikki, again, sort of like brushes a small fly off of it and continues sort of scritching under its chin, which it seems to like. Especially when it's so damn cute. Are you sure we couldn't just, I don't know, take it back out with us? I'm sure it would fit on the skyship. And Myth sort of shakes her head. It is a complicated thing to try and take a beast of the gates out of it. They do not agree very well when their gate is active with the world outside. There are some in my home, they know how to bind the beast. It lets them sort of leave their gate, whether it is open or not, and they are fine. But unless a gate breaks, it can prove quite poor for the creature, I'm afraid.
No.
I've seen it. It is like how they condense when they die, except no core is left behind.
Hmm.
And Imogen sort of puts a hand on your shoulder. It's not the smallest thing out here. I'm sure it won't do too bad on its own. Might get a bit hungry, but even in bad circumstances, for the small things can find a way. Life has more tenacity than you might think.
See, the thing is that I think Vaya very much. This is like a vague, like he knows what it's like to be left alone in this kind of situation.
Mm-hmm.
And he's like, can I really walk away? And like leave it to like, I don't know, be alone? And like, it's kind of hard for them.
Oh, what does Vara want to do? Nikki and Myth definitely gonna be behind you if you decide you want to make a detour.
I
Imogen,
and I ask, Myth, are these things, are they really alive?
I think they are, but I think they're alive in a way that is different. We are, how do I say? Where I am from, we believe in our god, Genesis. She is the mother of the earth. She creates all that is living. We believe that when she was killed, retribution was brought forth in the form of these gates. They are aspects of life condensed. So in a way they are alive, but they are always made to be temporary life. Condensed life in a small microcosm, not permanent. But I suppose that depends on what your perspective of mortality and life is. Just because it is temporary, does that make it less alive? And again, Nikki sort of runs a hand through her hair and looks back towards the rest of the group. Seems pretty alive to me. It's able to mourn its mother, and I think if something can feel, then it's alive enough.
Hmm.
I'm happy to make a detour further down the river. If you are concerned about time, I am no stranger to traversing alone. I am happy to maybe take a look further down, see if I could tempt it and meet up with you. I know where the foliage thickens. I can probably meet you there. If it would set your heart at ease.
I nod. Are you sure you're willing to go alone? Whatever the abyss is still out there.
Myth smiles and gives sort of a slow nod. I am faster than I look. I could probably outrun most things in this jungle.
I nod.
And Imogen sort of rolls her shoulders a little bit. I could make sure I know where you are, if you'd like. Keep an ear and an eye on you. Amith smiles and nods. If that would set you at ease, that might work. And Imogen, you see Imogen sort of walk over and reach out and just sort of touch Myth on the side of the arm. And you see, for a moment, a sort of like almost eye-like symbol flare purple in her shadow and then sink back in. There you go. If you need help, yell and we'll come as fast as we can.
And with that, I think I put my hand out for the elephant to touch again.
Yeah. It sort of toots and wraps its little trunk around you.
And I give it like a little squeeze. And then I, with my other hand, reach out and grab the hand of Myth and I put it out in the same fashion.
And she smiles and takes your hand. You're a good person. It is not many people who empathize with the creatures of the gates. You should be proud of that, I think.
It's probably gonna get me killed.
I don't know. There is a sect in my hometown that I think would be very interested to have someone like you under their wing.
Maybe. I think I would like to visit your homeland, based on everything you said so far.
You'll pick a good time for it. There is a festival going on soon. I told you about this before. It is not for a number of weeks yet, but it is definitely worth the sights. And
So assuming that the elephant's happy to follow them.
yeah, you sort of extend your hands, and as Myth sort of like turns to it, you see it again sort of like begin feeling over Myth's sort of like face, and she laughs and almost begins like talking to it. You don't think it understands, but it begins to sort of like reach its hand and sort of pap at her bald head, which it seems quite appeased by. And slowly but surely, using a mixture of sort of like throat and cooing words, she sort of like puts her hand on its trunk on her head and begins to sort of like lead it away. It looks back several times, sort of towards its mother on the ground and towards the three of you, but does sort of trail off and begin following Myth.
Once it's gone, I turn to the others.
Yeah, you see Imogen sort of like reached a foot in and is like maybe prodding a bit of the ichor away from the center of this corpse. Probably best not to waste the core.
Agreed. Is she grabbing the core?
And Yeah, I think when you say agreed, she's like, okay, good. This isn't going to be like a moral issue. Great. And she'll grab it. You can roll me 4d20.
36.
In this sort of like smaller one of the larger elephant beasts, there are that many high tier 1 fragments in it. As well as 4 pristine tier.
I assume these aren't all mine.
That is up to you. Imogen picks up the thing and goes to pocket it, and then looks at her bags, sees that like they're kind of bulging already. You wouldn't mind, would you? I feel like I've already taken my fair cut of fragments today.
Sure. I'm gonna take the fragments. So, how many are there? 36.
There are 36 high tier 1s, and there are 4 pristine tier 1s.
Hmm. Interesting.
Not bad.
No, not bad at all. Okay. One second.
You process that.
Yeah.
You see Nikki sort of throws an arm around your shoulder. Am I allowed to have a cut of that one, or do I need to wait for the next elephant that we save?
You can have a cut of this. So.
Yes.
I'm
I will
gonna-
say, if Myth's able to get him back to their family, Isla would love that.
I nod. I think they'd like that too.
Well, best we stop slacking and get this flower then, eh?
Indeed. I'm going to consume 2 of the pristine ones.
As you sort of consume it, where previously you could feel this sort of like thing inside of you, just almost like instinctively drawing on that energy, you have a little bit of control over that now.
Oh.
So if you want to take in a fragment, you can stop it taking the 10% leech.
That's so nice.
Okay. Or you can allow it to. So
that
that is something that you now have control over.
Bro, for now I'll let it. I'll stop it from taking it, and then I'll for this time slot, you put my energy into my ability.
Yep.
Which puts me back at 0.
Hell yeah.
And I am now down 2 pristines. Cool. Is anyone worried about that I just did that? Because that's a lot, I think.
I think Nikki is probably like turned to go back into the forest, and Imogen doesn't know. So I think you're all right for a hot second.
Okay. Like, take charges. Gain an extra charge of big dots. I think. Wait, should I have done that? Yeah, fuck it. That's what I did. That's what I'm doing. That's what I'm doing. Alright. Which means if I come back over here, rig dots is now 4 of 4. Which is pretty big. Okay. Cool. Nice. With that then, I will. Yeah, I guess we'll keep going.
Yeah, you guys again sort of begin to press through the forest. You can make me another athletics check to see just sort of the pace you're able to keep as the foliage definitely becomes thicker the more sort of like northward you head.
I'm glad we put it on that first one because I think that's like basically saved the time we would have spent with.
Yeah,
like,
absolutely.
15 is the next bit.
15. It doesn't take you long, especially like traveling back through the route that you came with Myth. You've reached that sort of like split in the path where you can see the foliage get like way thicker, and you're able to sort of like make your way through. And you've been trekking this jungle for a while now, and you've sort of figured out tree roots deeply pog. You can stand on them, and you probably won't like fall into a bush.
Mhm.
And you guys make pretty good pace. As you're walking, Imogen will go, "Oh shoot! Uh, what's this flower you're looking for?"
Ah, right. So, you know much about sparkbleed and glass flowers?
A little too much, I'm afraid, but yes.
Yeah. My apologies. Or at least
Ah,
my condolences.
no one personal. It's just a little rampant in their town.
Tell me about it. My mother is afflicted, I'm afraid. So I'm painfully aware. But it turns out
Sorry.
there's another flower. There's, I think it was called like maybe a blood empress or something along those lines.
Oh, Red Empress.
Yes.
I've heard of them.
They're meant to be able to prevent the more chronic stages if you can apply it early enough.
And you know that they grow here? Those things cost a bomb outside of the gates.
I think they do.
Well, all right. Lucky friend, I suppose.
I shrug. Hopefully. We haven't seen one, but this is the right conditions.
All right. Well, I can tell you a little bit what you're looking for. And she will, she's actually seen one before, so she gives you a pretty good description of what you're looking for. You're looking for a very, like, it's very spider lily. It's like 100 red, sort of like very thin curled petals that all come together to make almost like a fire looking, like large flower. And it is bright red.
It actually has a crown, right?
What do you mean?
Like the way that the leaves are.
Yeah, it looks like properly like a large crown sort of shape.
Okay. So yeah, it should be hard to miss if we find one. But I say how like apparently you find them where like plants they cause plants around it to get much thicker.
And she nods, seeming to be sort of like familiar with this. And you think you're definitely going in the right direction. As you sort of head further north, you can almost see ahead of you where there's the foliage almost comes up in a wall. As like jungle floor gives way to full thicket. You're having to like push vines ahead of and almost like having to break through to like traverse this area. And you can make me two things. First of all, make me an athletics check just to like push through this environment. And secondly, make me a stealth check.
8 and 10.
Okay. It gets a little difficult, and it takes you a while. You see, there's a moment where you start thinking like, am I just like plowing through a bush? And like, is this actually going to give into clearing? And you come to sort of like a wall of sort of thorned air, like a sort of like thorn thicket, but you see like on the other side of it, just out of the corner of your eye for a second, a bright glimpse of red. And just roll me a d4 for slashing damage as you're kind of forced to like pull your way through this thicket into an almost grove-like clearing.
3.
You take 3 points of slashing damage as you pull your way out into this. It's very strange. There's there's suddenly a pocket where sort of like thicket and brush sort of pulls up around you. But then like it creates this like pocket of clear ground. And the ground is sort of thick with this very like soft, mossy looking carpet of plants. And a number of flowers, small and just almost like just a mess of sort of like pinkish, yellowish, white wildflowers sort of tangle through this place. You see there are pockets where like big bundles of moss sort of poke up out of the ground, and a tangle of vines sort of sifts through this like mossy undergrowth.
This looks like the place.
Most certainly it does, because right in the center of this place, on like a slightly raised up sort of mound, you can see just a singular, gorgeous flower. Like a large series of curling leaves kind of twist off into the undergrowth. And it's on like, it's the kind of flower that you might feel like would almost like droop under the weight of its own sort of like flower head. But it doesn't. It stands there tall and proud and like a glorious beacon as a shaft of sort of light slowly swift like drifts through the canopy down onto it.
I like it.
Mm-hmm.
I think that, I'm hell yeah. I turn to the others and say, that's it. That's what we're looking for.
That is what we're looking for. Imogen gives a bit of a nod. And Nikki, still sort of like picking a few like vines off of her, goes, great. Your weapon's not made of metal, right? We might need one of your daggers to harvest that, Imogen. And Imogen gives a bit of a nod. Well, let's go get it then.
Yeah, I'll cautiously walk forwards, because for a plan like this to exist with such like defenses like that, it makes me think that maybe there's like things that like hunt it, almost like maybe there's like snakes or something that like try and eat it.
Yeah. Maybe a perception check and
Snakes
like
don't eat plants, but you know what I mean, like.
Yeah, I know.
Like, if it had it's like clearly evolved to create walls, and so there must be a natural predator.
How many? And where are you moving specifically? How many feet? Give me your tile movement.
Yeah, move me up like 15 feet.
Okay.
Well, let's go 25. Let's go 25. See if. And what am I making? A investigation.
Just a perception check.
Oh. See. 9.
9. Absolutely. The 9 is quite apt as you go to move 25 feet up, and you only get about 15 before your foot presses down on a bit of moss, and you feel a sudden sort of sharp sting as you feel the moss around you sort of it's almost like spines come out and it snaps around your leg.
Oh.
As like two sides of what looked like indistinguishable sort of like moss padding, your foot has sunk into it, and almost like a toothed maw has come up and snapped around your leg. And roll me an initiative. Maybe an initiative roll, please.
Venus flytrap?
Yes.
25.
25. Very nice. Give me just a moment, please, whilst I open my stuff. Sorry, I should have had this open before. I didn't know you'd come this way.
What's the flower?
Huh?
To the flower?
No. Sorry.
You're okay.
Yeah. I've got the encounter, like all the stuff we rolled. I just didn't have it open. Okay, cool beans. 25, you say?
Yep.
Wonderful. Let me roll for these guys. Perfect. Okay. Wonderful. Make me just a strength check then, as you go first. You don't count as being ambushed because these things don't move.
Is that how it works?
Huh?
Is that?
Yeah. This is how it works for these specific enemies. They are physically incapable of ambushing things.
Okay. Strength check. Sure.
Yeah.
I roll a 15 to try and break out.
You give a pull, and you don't feel like this would be particularly tricky to break out of, but the way that they've like instantly sort of latched onto your leg, your initial pull isn't quite enough to get free of it. So you are grappled by this thing. And you can feel sort of like it almost tensing up, ready to sort of crunch in harder. But you don't quite manage to sort of break out.
Did that cost anything?
No, you just get to make that start your turn.
I'm grappled.
Yeah, so you can't move.
But I could attack.
Yes, you can still attack.
Is it alive?
You can assume so. It seems to be a plant.
Is a plant alive? Is it living?
A plant is alive. A plant is living.
Okay. I'll use Whirlpool.
Wonderful. Make me an attack roll.
Okay, yeah. I roll a 6. That's another nat 1. Why am I rolling so many nat 1s? Like, the crit to nat 1 ratio is insane. Also, like, scroll up through the bot commands. Like, I've got, like, only reds, and then occasionally, like, I crit. But, like, almost, like, so many, like, nat 1s. It's crazy.
I think as you go to sort of like do whirlpool, but it's just kind of like it's like on your foot, and it's such a sweeping motion. You're so
I just
used
like
to like doing a
hesitate
big
because I'm
swing.
worried I'm gonna hit myself.
Yeah, you just like you're more worried about like cutting your own fucking leg off trying to do this, and you just sort of like you try to make it work, and it like doesn't quite, and you kind of have to like panic stop the momentum of your blade mid stab. As it continues to sort of like grab to it. What's your passive perception?
12,
Uh.
I think.
Okay.
Good. I will break my bonus action into reactions.
Wonderful. You break your bonus action down into reactions. Imogen.
My leg.
Imogen follows your footsteps on the route that you took, and she comes over. You see two sort of like daggers pick up into her hand, and she sort of like stabs down kind of uncomfortably close to the back of your foot. She's like, "I got you," and very easily this thing immediately sort of like you hear almost like a sort of like a release of air more than a sound. As it sort of flops down limp.
Okay. Oh.
And you become very... Oh, sorry. Choop. And Nikki goes, damn it. We're probably gonna have to watch our step. Right?
Well, there's another way. I take my sword. I strike the tile in front of me.
You strike the tile in front of you. Seems to hit sort of like dirt in the ground.
Does this? Can I whirlpool? Whirlpool is like I'm like a minesweeper. Hold on, holy shit, this could be great. I could be fucking cooking actually. Hold on, where am I on the map? Give me an updated map. Zoom out. I tell everyone to stand back.
Okay.
I am going to whirlpool, move 5 feet, whirlpool, move 5 feet, whirlpool, all the way up to just try and like clear out. Like I'm just gonna be like attacking low.
Okay. Here's updated map then. The girls will follow sort of like behind you.
Just tell me how many tiles I whirlpool for, if you can. Or at least until I hit something.
Sure.
We're just beelining towards it.
Oh shit. You move about 20 foot, and you get a little ping to the top left of you.
So we move 20 foot, so that's 5, 10, 15, 20, 4 tiles, obviously. 4, so...
Can you also make me a perception check?
yeah, I can. Okay, bonk bonk. I'm here.
So
Perception
you
check.
swing your blade and almost like
Oh,
you
you're putting
see
that to
something like
block
rustle
ones,
and
maybe.
oh sorry, you see it sort of like rustle and snap for a second, but having like grasped nothing, it lays itself back down into the moss, and you can definitely see sort of like while this thing is like not moving, it is almost indistinguishable from a moss carpet.
I made a 17.
As an attack roll?
No. That's just a perception. But if you want
Oh,
an attack
17 is a
roll,
perception.
it was a 18. I thought it was, but there was a hit of that.
18, yeah, absolutely. You sort of swing your blade around after like it snaps up, and you take the momentum. You sort of like twist the blade in your hands, and whoosh, almost baseball style, sort of whack back towards it, and this thing is like sliced in half. As it sort of flops open, you do catch a little glint kind of in the chest of this thing. But on a 17 perception, you also feel a rumble.
Like something's getting closer.
Like something is here, as
Oh.
in front of you, there's a sudden sort of burst in the ground, as a tangle of vines shoots up out of the ground. You can see sort of like thorn-whipped tendrils shoot out of the ground and begin lashing at you.
Oh,
And
Guardian is here.
as it does, you see Imogen sort of like jump to the side, and Nikki sort of like point out further along the field, and she goes, "Ah, shit! That's not the only one. Look out!" And
Really?
it is gonna sort of strike you for 13 to hit.
Excellent. I am going to use a dodge roll.
Okay, wonderful.
I roll back. I roll backwards.
Do you succeed? No, make me your dexterity check.
It doesn't actually matter because they don't hit me.
Oh, they don't. Oh, perfect. Yeah, then you succeed. Where are you moving to?
I'm just moving down, like
You're
south.
just moving down 5 foot. So you see this as you see the ground of the little mound that this hill is on suddenly begin to shift as 3 sort of leaves pull up from the ground. 3 of these almost like spined edged moss carpet leaves of a much larger fly trap as it sort of curls up together. And you see like almost like, oh god, what are they called? Not tendrils, the little stigma polleny things begin sort of like whipping around inside it like tentacles.
Oh, I know what you mean. Like the fulim or whatever.
Yeah. And you see as it sort of whips around, little puffs of maybe like a polleny thing coming off of it. And the ground is rumbling as more of these seeming like vine things are sort of like
So does it
definitely
look
coming.
like the vines are like part of 16?
So you can make me an intelligence check if you'd like.
Yeah. Maybe I will. Maybe I will.
Maybe you should. Maybe you should.
9.
9. You're not sure. These are long, tendrily and thorned. You're not really close enough to 16 to see anything other than the sort of like 3 mouthy flaps.
Nah,
that are like writhing.
Here's the thing, right? I reckon I'd win. So I think we should assume that's true. Okay. The problem is that there's almost certainly going to be more hidden traps.
There is, but you're up because
Yeah.
big fly trap A and B have gone, and that's all I'm gonna say.
Okay. Where was the third leaf? Let's see. What was that next leaf?
You don't know. But seemingly top of the round, where are you going?
I kind of put it like, watch out for more traps, and I will, yeah, let's, how's Nikki feeling at close range? Like,
She's fine. You can see she's already sort of like grabbed one of her fists and is like rewrapping it.
then I'll assume that they've got it covered, and I'll move back up 5 feet, and I will attack A.
Wonderful.
4. Ho ho! Another dark red roll. That's an 8.
Oh no, that's not gonna do it. These things, surprisingly, there's like, again, you can't help but feel there's a level of intelligence to this stuff as it almost actively dodges. And though you know it can't see because it's a fucking massive vines, as you sort of swing around, these things like perfectly curl backwards, so there's like a C-shaped indent. Almost the perfect range of your blade.
I also like to think that another like good one for this is because like the sword is just made of wood. It just doesn't cut. So it just like bounces off almost. Oh,
Yeah.
damn this thing. I break my bonus actions into reactions. That's me.
Wonderful. 16 in that case is going to hold their action because they can't do that, and they also can't move. And then it's Imogen. Imogen knows that that location is clear, so she's gonna 5, 10, 15 foot move upwards, and she will take a swipe at A as well and see what she can do. Gosh. That'll do it there, and then she'll make a secondary one. That one won't. So she only manages to get one sort of cut off on this thing.
Yeah.
And it's a alright slice. You see she sort of like manages to get the base of one of these vines, and one of like the many vines in this massive tendrils does sort of slump to the ground. And you do actually see 16 kind of like undulate a little bit.
Another point towards the reconnector. Okay.
Next up is... Oh, I can't send that. Sorry. So this is what the map is looking like.
You're sending it in the right channel.
Yeah, I'm sending the right channel. Sorry, I'm doing my best. I'm flipping between channels
You're
as well.
good, you're good.
Real hard. Next up, A is going to take a lash at you, Veer, because you were the first to strike them. And they're gonna hit you for... Oof. You see two tendrils sort of like whip out beside you, and I assume a 9 doesn't hit you, as one sort of like moves uncomfortably close past your cheek, but you manage to sort of pull out of the way.
But I'm still gonna dodge roll with you.
Fuck yeah, you're gonna fucking dodge roll. Do it.
I move so that I am 5 feet to the east.
Okay. To the east, next to Imogen.
Yeah.
Nice. Okay, you roll up, sort of like get up 5 feet, and then next up is Nikki, who's like, damn plants, and she will take a strike at them as well. She's just gonna try and punch it, and she does manage to get it. And she will do. You see, she does sort of like punch into these things with her fists, and though she sort of flicks her hand, clearly punching thorns, not the most pleasant of ideas. You notice that her sort of like blunt force strikes don't seem to really do as much to it. It is taking it, but it sort of like moves back and then is immediately back in place. It's like replaced by more vines. And then she will reach into her pocket, sort of bling, flip a coin, and she will aim at 16. And she is gonna see if that hits. Perfect. You see she flips a coin for heads and tails, points at this thing, And as the coin is sort of about to fall, you see almost unnaturally it flips onto one specific side. And ping, sort of pings off towards this thing. And the piercing damage, you see it sort of like cut through one of the leaves. And this thing sort of like shrieks, and again, all of the sort of vines shudder. Next up is B, who is going to take a strike at Nikki. That one also misses, just about. Again, Nikki sort of like herself kind of tries to roll out of the way. It's a lot less glorious than your like precision roll, but she manages to sort of like duck under one of the swipes. And then you feel the ground begin to rumble, and you can feel sort of northwest of you. There's a rumbling coming from that direction, but it can't reach you this turn. But something is coming from Vayli then, and then we're back to your turn.
It's burrowing.
Maybe.
I'll give people a warning. I'm going to make an attack.
Wonderful. Go for it, go for it, go for it.
Keep in mind that AoE, but I don't think that if it's underground, it probably isn't immune. But I will announce it regardless. A 22 to hit.
That'll do it.
Like it'll hit. Okay.
A solid hit. Are you sort of like regaining your footing now, having a moment to sort of assess your enemies? You're like, okay, you plant your feet.
Because I don't think I've fought a plant before, so this is kind of new
No.
to me. So I'm like, okay, this is where I need to strike. I get it. And then I'm gonna like do a big swing and try and cut it down.
Yeah.
Remembering what, like Imelda taught me when we were gardening outside the front of the shop. You know what I mean, with the building.
Yeah. You remember that she always used to complain about blunt pliers.
Yeah.
They didn't cut as well.
Like, I feel you. And I'm just gonna shing, cut for 14 damage.
How would you like to do this?
I think I'm just gonna cleave it in half if possible.
Yeah, you finally like planting your feet, you like embrace all of your minor amounts of gardening knowledge, and you, even though this is a wooden sword, you like find enough of a position that like as you cut through, it just like the vines don't have the strength to like keep up with the force you're going with, and you see the top half of them sort of torn from the bottom half of their roots, as the bits that remain at the bottom get almost sucked back into the ground, and these vines scatter and almost begin to instantly wither and fade away. They like fizzle.
Yeah.
As A is fucking out for the count.
Okay. Then I'm going to move up 10 feet.
Okay. 5, 10. Nice. You move up 10 feet, you're okay.
Yeah, I expected I would be. But, it's hard to say, Sometimes it's a bit tricky. It's just slightly outdated, but that's basically the current map we have. Let's see. How's Nikki doing?
Nikki's looking alright. Hold on, I'll send you an updated map. Zoom.
I'll call out and say, I think 16's sending these little vines.
Damn it, I'll try aim for them when I can.
Let us know if you need help. And then I'll keep pushing.
Oh, wonderful. Okay. That's an updated map for you. They are 16 is going to hold their action. Imogen is then going to make a perception check. I think Imogen's gonna look around for a good route. What do you see, Imogen? Oof. She gets a 20. You see, as she's sort of scanning, she goes, oh shit. Look out to the side of you and up ahead. And you see this. Let me send you a little thing. As she points out two, one sort of like 10 foot to the east of you, and one 15, 20 foot up ahead. sort of like to the northeast.
Mm. Right.
And then she is gonna. That's her action. She's still got her movement. She's gonna 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30. She's gonna move up there. Then break her bonus actions down. Then is Nikki. Nikki is going to try and fucking punch a plant again, because she's just like that. She's just built that way.
You got that punching energy.
Again, she sort of pummels this plant, and she gets like a good like fist in there, but it's just like not quite doing as much, but it's also not doing much to her. So they're kind of, she seems to be like almost stuck in a stalemate spar with this plant. But she will sort of like, from where she shot the coin before, you hear just sort of like a woo sort of sound as this coin rips back through the plant into her hand. And again, there's sort of like a rumbling sensation from 16. Then B is going to try and punch back at her. It does hit, so he's going to give them a little bit of a slump. You see sort of one of them like almost like lash out and punch across sort of like Nikki's face, and she gets like a little bit of a scratch on her cheek. But you see she almost like laughs a bit maniacally as she sort of like spits to the side and rolls her shoulders. She seems all right, and then you feel a rumbling.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I'm worried about C, but I'm also worried about poison.
You don't have much time to worry about it, as bursting from the ground, another bunch of these sort of like tendrils slips out and is going to make a lash at you.
Good luck.
For an 18 to hit.
Shit. Big. Yeah, big. Okay, yeah, it can fucking try, but it has a little bit of a problem.
Because you can fucking roll, that's why.
Yeah, I can roll. But what was it, an 18?
18 to hit, yep. You can rickroll, that's what you can do.
You see, here's the thing, right? So I could dodge roll, and I have an average of 16 on my dodge roll. But given the knight's rolling, I don't know if I'll hit it.
Yeah, but you feel like you would win, remember?
Do you know what? So true. Let's do it. 1d20 plus 6 is an 18. So
nice.
Oh, is that enough?
It is me or beat. You can do
Let
it.
me check. Dodge roll.
I think it is.
Against the incoming hit roll. So I guess defender wins.
Yep, defender wins. Yep.
So yeah, big.
You fucking do it.
I thought I had rigged odd charges, which is what I just noticed, so that's what I was going for. I'm gonna dodge roll. Where is it? Just one up. One up.
Just one up. Wonderful. You dodge roll one up. Very nice.
Yeah.
This thing bursts out of the ground. It's
Actually,
really going for you. It's sort of like you see its coil sort of like coalesce, center of mass, as it like juts out towards you like a spear, and you're like, not today.
Can I go up diagonally to the right instead of directly up?
Yes, you can.
Thank you.
That's okay.
I have a plan.
And you sort of roll as this like collision of tendrils sort of shoots up above your head.
Okay.
Wonderful. You make it out of the way, and it's your go.
I am going to...
Can you make me just a perception check first?
Yeah.
Wonderful.
I know that there's one like right in front of me somewhere. I don't know exactly where. A 10.
Okay. That's great.
That is great.
That's great.
That is so great. Isn't that so great?
That's wonderful.
Yeah, I'm right. Here's my plan, alright?
Mhm.
I need to compare the maps. Hold up. So I am here now. So I have moved there. So I move 10 feet forwards, then diagonally up to the west.
You sure? Just asking.
Yes, I'm sure.
Okay. Okay.
And then I just rush until I get to 16.
Wonderful. 5, 10, 15. Yep. You get there. You power through. You can see sort of like as you pass through, number 9 almost like goes to snap and then settles back in just to like the vibrations. As you run past, C is going to take an attack of opportunity against you. He's gonna lash his little tendrils in your direction. You get lashed at for a crispy 6.
Nope.
Nope.
I'm gonna in fact use this opportunity to dodge roll a little further forwards.
Yeah, you effectively fucking flip towards 16 and it's sick as fuck. As again, it sort of like swings one of its tendrils out like towards you, try and catch your leg as you go, and you just like fully jump it, go into a dive roll, and as you sort of like come out of that momentum, you are in front of 16. You see again these whipping tendrils. You can see where it's whipping its tendrils inside, almost like this dome shape it's created with these like mouths where it's like made a sort of bud shape. It's been shaking off pollen into its center body. And it's its turn next. And let's see, 5, 10, 15. Both you and Imogen are in range. So first things first, you see just sort of like a jet of this like strange yellowy pollen substance shoot out towards Imogen. And she is going to need to make me a con save. Oh, okay. Great. You see Imogen like as she's sort of like going, she goes to sort of like jump to the side and it sort of like strikes her in the side, and she goes down into sort of like rolling down into this little bush area, and you see her sort of like emerge cussing a second later, sort of like shaking this pollen off of her, and she goes, stay away from that stuff, as she's sort of like beginning to cough, and then I would like you to make me a Constitution saving throw as well, as this thing is going to unfurl its leaves, and there's a sudden like as just a massive cloud.
Well, so first of all, 19. But what they don't know is my legendary body makes me immune, right?
Oh,
that what
right.
Is that what it is?
No, unfortunately not.
19.
Wonderful. No. Sorry. Yeah. Yes. 19 is fine. You, this thing sort of puffs out in your face, but you sort of like have enough, sort of like reaction time to cover your eyes. But even as you like breathe this stuff in like very slightly, and you do your best not to, it's like it stings. It's bad, but it's like you've smelled worse, and you sort of like manage to shrug it off. And while it does sort of like leave a tickle in your throat, it's not enough to throw you off of your stance. But you think lingering this in this sort of like cloud is not great. So everywhere within like 5 foot of this thing is affected by a little spore cloud at present. And that is going to be their turn. Wonderful. Imogen is going to like pick herself up. So that's half movement. She's 5, 10, 15. She also gets up to 16 and is going to take a swing. She can't quite get far enough to flank, which is what she really wants to do. She doesn't manage to hit it as she sort of goes for a swing with her blades, and it just sort of like, you see one of these little like pollen tendrils just sort of almost like whip her hand, and she sort of has to like pull away and retract. Next up is Nikki. What's going on with Nikki? Nikki and this plant are still fucking sparring, and Nikki wants to win. She does get a hit, and like finally she seems to almost like find her weight, and seeing that like singular punches aren't doing it. You watch her like pummel into this thing and begin sort of like almost stomping down its vines to the point where she is like fully jumping up and down on this plant. And you start to see bits of it just like and begin to like wither away as she sort of laughs victoriously, having dealt with B. Which is then followed by the visage of C sinking into the ground. And they will... Can they get there? They're gonna... They burst up out of the ground next to Imogen. And they're gonna take a swing at her. Wonderful. Oh, jeez. She's not expecting it. She's just sort of like had her hand sort of whacked back by this whip. And again, you see sort of the coalition of this like almost needle-like protrusion just shoot out of the ground. And it gets her sort of like lower rib cage. And the thorns very much like dig into the side, and there's a sort of small spray of blood as it sort of rips out. And her attention turns to that as she like sucks in air through her teeth. And it is your go. Can you make me another perception check, please?
Yeah. I don't like how you keep asking me to do this. 10.
Okay.
What? That's so good.
Oh shit! Wrong channel. Sorry. Let me delete that. Nice. There you go. This is top of the round. This is the map.
Okay. I move. So here's the question: is there a vine trap directly to my east?
You don't know. Are you gonna use your action to check?
No, but I am gonna step onto that tile.
Okay. To the east, you say, next to Imogen?
Yeah.
You step there, you sort of like brace, you're fine.
Excellent. Then I will attack, hitting both C and 16.
Wonderful. Maybe your attack roll.
I'm going to target 16 and see if it's weaker. Or if it's stronger. Because it strikes me as the kind of thing where like that central bowl might actually be like quite a lot weaker than the vines. Because it's kind of like a ranged attack. It's a crit.
Yep, that'll fucking do it. You swing around and you're like, it's gotta be weaker. And you're not sure if that makes you stronger. As you come around sort of like full force ready to test this thing out. Definitely made of fleshier stuff than the thorn-coated.
I deal 20 damage.
One, you sort of crack into this thing. You see like again there's almost like this expellation of air that makes almost like a squeaking sound effect as this thing begins to sort of like writhe in pain as one of these like tenderly leafy mouth flaps just sort of begins to like crunch up and twist and wither away before your eyes. It doesn't fully dissipate, but you watch it sort of like shrink and wither as like water leaves it.
Does C get destroyed?
C does, yeah. No, that's fully enough to do C. Yeah, as sort of like it sort of strikes into Imogen, she like keels over for a second. You do this strike, you whack fully through C, which like it goes over Imogen's head. And you think you see like a look of like she gives you like a nod of like that was fucking impressive. Okay, sure. Okay, maybe he's cool. As yeah, you see crushed and withered against sort of like the now withering like mouth of 16.
Bonus actions to reactions.
Bonus actions to reactions, and you might need them. 16 is up. I'm going to just take a little bit of a check. Yeah, okay. Now with this sort of like cloud here, can you make me another Constitution saving throw, please?
Do they know I'm immune? Don't they know my legendary body makes me immune? 16.
16. Yeah, you like again. It's like you can feel that like someone who maybe had like Isla's constitution would be struggling, but you've grown up in Lowtown. You're used to like the burning spices of things like hitting the back of your throat just as you're walking. You're fine. This is like fine for you. However, what isn't fine for you is the two sort of like again tendril looking stabby vines that comes out of it. Can you make me a strength saving throw, please? As you are hit for a 20, and Imogen is hit for a 15.
Oh, wait, so you're telling me that I got hit there? Is that what you're
Yeah.
telling me?
Yeah.
What if, actually, I dodge rolled?
You can try 100%.
So on average, I think I win. But it's costly. Do I just take this? I haven't been hit yet.
You see next to you, Imogen sort of pulls her blade around, sort of like getting back on her feet, and finding her sort of like footing from the last strike and manages to parry it.
It was a session ago, but we have technically used our once per long rest heavy block, which would allow us to instantly win.
Mm.
Sturdy defense would be a +4 AC, which would take us to 19, so that's not enough. We could dodge roll and just win, but obviously that's pretty hard. It's because, like, that's not going to work. But do I really want to get hit by this guy? We're kind of in a rough shot. Oh, yeah, do you know what? Fuck it. Well, why not get hit once or twice? Yeah, you want a strength save. Okay. Oh, I'm so glad I didn't. Oh, I'm so glad I didn't roll a nat 1. Of course I nat 1. What was I thinking? Getting anything in green? This is the nat 1 session. I've nat 1 more in this session than you guys have in the last, like, 10 Caldwell sessions.
Oh god,
you
you really have. What's
many nat
happening?
ones? Let me count how many nat 1s I've had this session alone. 1. 2. 3. 4. 5. 6. 7. 8. 9. 10. 10 nat 1s this session. In damnation.
But listen, the backswing next session is gonna be crazy.
Yeah, can you imagine?
I'd like to. Okay, I mean, on that terrible note of 10 nat ones a session, you take 14 points of piercing damage, as you suddenly feel it sort of like it pierces through you and then wraps around your leg.
How many?
14 points of piercing damage.
And
you are yanked by your leg into the fleshy sort of like remaining flaps of this thing's sort of mouth.
Oh shit.
And there is a much nicer opening now that one of these mouths is sort of like withered a little bit, but you feel sort of things lock into you and around you as you begin to be crushed. And you feel from like where your feet are a sort of uncomfortable heat beginning to build.
Ooh.
Of like an acidy like substance.
It's okay because my legendary body. No, okay.
Yeah, you'll be immune to it because of your legendary body.
Yeah. Okay, cool. Let me know when it's my turn, and it will turn me to that.
Wonderful. Next up is Imogen. She probably could do with like not letting her companions be eaten. She is gonna try and get you out of there. So she sort of like stabbing one sort of, you see one of the blades of her dagger sort of stab into the edge of one of the leaves and just pry it back a little bit. And she reaches a hand in, and she's gonna try and pull you out. She gets a fucking 22. Yes, she does. As Imogen manages to sort of pull you from this thing, and you can see definitely like a green ichor sort of like acid dripping off of your boots as you're pulled out.
Thank you.
She's like, that's right, be careful. And that's her action, so she'll break her bonus actions down. Nikki is gonna fucking run. What's Nikki gonna do? Does Nikki remember? No. 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, 35? Oh, she's gonna get 30 feet. And luckily, a dead straight line is fine. So she's going to start running towards you guys. and then ping a coin at this thing, which, because of its nature, only has a head. Wonderful. Doop, 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 doop. Again, you see a little like just behind you, sort of like piercing through one of the leaves, kind of through maybe where you might have been, and then back out the other side of like one of the leaves.
I'm glad I'm not in there anymore. That could have been a little bit bad news for me otherwise.
Strategically sketchy. As B and C are down, so it's back to you. Can you make me one final perception check, please?
Yeah, I'll give it a go. That's a 5.
That's a 5. Okay. That's cool.
Did you want... Because like, you could just tell me.
No, it's fine. No, don't worry about it.
Is this like...
Do you know what? I'll tell you later.
Oh.
It's your turn.
Can I spend... I want to look, but there's no reason why I'd know. No to look, do you know what I mean?
Yeah, you're in the thick of it. Your attention's on 16.
I just dump started like these things you keep asking me for.
Oh no, is having a low wisdom inconvenient? That's so crazy.
Yeah.
That's so crazy.
Kinda is, bro. Okay. Yeah, I don't have any breathing techniques or anything to like increase my whiz, man. Okay. Well, maybe I should get one then. Check my head skill issue. Feels weird that I'm so only. That's okay. 16 to hit.
16 will do it.
Yikes.
You take a good solid swing at this thing.
Bonk. 11 damage.
How do you want to do this?
Again, I think I'm just gonna like smack into the side of it and like cut, and then it like gets wedged halfway, and then I'm just going to like bring my other arm around and just like smack into the handle and just like bring it through for the and like cut it in half.
Hell yeah. You again like bring it through. There's like a minor spray of acid. It's like it hits some of the leaves sort of like next to you, and they begin to sort of like sizzle and wither up. And all throughout this area you begin to hear sort of like exhalations of this air, and like there's rustling in the bushes as some of these little like moss piles almost seem to like sink into the ground a little bit. And 16 again letting out this like almost like a kettle boiling sort of sound as it begins to like wither and shrivel up. It shrinks down into a small sphere, and then as like leaves flake away, it leaves a small core behind.
Can I look around for like anything else? Like anything that's
Yeah, well, Imogen immediately is like, that was too close, and reaches up and gives you a high five.
Yeah, I'll high five it. Sure, why not?
Yeah, you high five her, and as you high five her, the last little glimpse of a flash of purple at her side catches your attention as you watch the second of the 2 keys in the netted bag at her side disappear.
Oh shit! I tell her it's gone. Where'd it go?
What is
Your
it?
key.
What are you talking about? What? And she looks down, and her eyes sort of bulge as both of the keys are fucking gone, and that net bag at her side is fully like empty. And
This is gonna be a bit of a giveaway, but I checked my bag.
Yeah, you check your bag, and your heart fucking sinks.
Oh, my
your
key
key
is gone.
Gone.
I know where it is. I say.
And you see Imogen make the same fucking connection as like this like flash of like fucking dark rage appears over her face, and she goes, "That fucking rat."
I nod. Wait, I say, we can we know what I'll be. I start pick up the core, and like just pocket it for now. I'll break it open in a second. And then I'm gonna go and harvest the plant. Or maybe ask
Yeah,
might be better.
Nikki, not really like not super a plant expert. If you need skyships, I'm your person. Plants, I can hold the leaves out of the way. She'll
I
assist
turn
you.
to like
as best she can.
Indigo. That's not Indigo, if you know what I mean.
Imogen.
Imogen. Could you? Do you know how to harvest these things properly?
I can cut.
Would you say you have a high wisdom for this matter?
I likely could cut a plant if that's the question you're asking me.
Huh?
Aside.
If I were to numerically quantify my ability to cut plants, it would be in the ballpark of a +2.
Wow. That's pitiful. She'll kneel down next to you,
Yeah.
and if you're gonna assist her, she'll make a survival check. Oh, that's a good thing you did, because a 6 won't do it. But a 25 will. She very much, she systematically, like, at first she's like, how do I approach this? And then you see something click a little morbidly in her head, and it's like, oh, and she systematically is able to sort of like find a way to detach this thing pretty quick. And you are left with a pristine harvest. There's only one, and it's quite delicate, but it is like in perfect. It is like
he had a range, didn't he?
bloom.
Rat?
You don't know.
I do fucking know. I look around. Where the fuck can I see signs of rat?
Make me a perception check.
For fuck's sake. It's like, oh god, don't tell me the fucking girl is here as well. 15.
15. You don't see immediate signs of rat.
I call out his name and tell him to like.
You see like Imogen's already like fucking packing up and like putting her, like wiping the acid from her blades and like slipping them both into sheaths. He won't be close by. He doesn't get his fucking hands dirty. He's got a wider range than he says he does. Fucker.
Then we should head to the exit. How is Myth doing?
You see Imogen sort of like stops, and she closes her eyes for a second, and when she opens them again, they are sheened over with a sort of like black gloss. And for a second, she becomes sort of like unresponsive, and you see her expression sort of like soften a little bit, and she says, "She's doing all right. She's not far." Shit. And she sort of like taps her foot a little bit. I can go real quick and let her know what's going on. If you guys want to head to the exit, I'll meet you there. Don't let him fucking move.
I don't plan on letting him swindle us like this. I've made an agreement with him, so perhaps he'll be reasonable.
She gives you a nod, and you see she sort of takes a few steps towards the edge of the clearing, and then fucking vanishes.
Yeah, I knew she could teleport to shadows. That makes sense. It's still cool. Still cool though.
Yeah, definitely. You notice definitely a bigger sort of like puff of sort of like darkness than what she was doing before with you. So you don't know if this is like maybe a bigger thing than that.
Kind of cool. Either way.
Yeah.
I turn to Nikki. Maybe like,
yeah.
How are you doing after that fight?
I'm a little bashed up, but it's nothing June can't fix. Let's go have a word with Rat, shall we?
Yeah, I'm about numerically 45%.
That's crazy how you can just like figure that out for yourself.
Well, half my body is pretty badly burned.
Let's see if we can trade some of those remaining pods then.
Oh, we'll have enough to buy. I'm not worried about that. My big problem, though, is if Rat manages to sell these keys to somebody else before we get to them, so we should make a move on.
Alright. Yeah, and make me just an athletics check.
Yeah.
As you begin to fucking hightail it back.
Here we come. 13.
13. Yeah, you
Click, clack,
again.
click.
It's like you're maybe not moving as slow as you feel like you're moving, but
It feels
is
like an age.
it feels like you're moving way too slow as you're like tearing through these like vines, and it doesn't help that you're in like the thickest part of the foliage, and it takes annoyingly long as you manage to sort of like get the things off, and then you're back on the sort of like right track towards the temple, and it's not long before you're sort of like running through. You go sort of like the quick way to the east, and very quickly find the gate. And what are you doing? You sort of like bust like straight into camp again. It's sort of wearing on. It's very much sort of like a late afternoon now. It's not quite the third time slot, but you know, the next couple hours it'll be there. Yeah. As you come in, you see a lot of people sort of gathered in the mess tent. A lot more people are out at the sort of like training areas now. And you see a couple people sort of like sparring, and a few of them coming in and out of June's sort of like camp. You can see the captain a little while away, Captain Towler, you know, talking to someone sort of like one of her deckhands. Yeah. Well, what are you doing? Where are you at? What's the game plan?
Okay. So, hold on. Sorry, can you re-describe that to me? Sorry, I was messing around with map transitions.
Yeah.
We've just left.
How are you like coming back through the gate? It's sort of like it's getting to sort of late afternoon, early evening. You've got like maybe 2-ish hours before the third time slot rolls around. You see a lot more people sort of like out in the sort of like sparring areas, just dueling with each other. You see, you know, the mess tent is, you know, its usual sort of like a buzz. Maybe not as much as in sort of like the rush hour third time slot, sort of like dinner time. But there's still a good amount of people there, clearly sort of like exchanging things, talking to one another, organizing little groups going out.
So here's the thing. I am a little bit worried because I want to make sure. I'm going to tell Nikki to wait not too far away from the entrance, just because I don't want basically Imogen to run through here and then come to the mess hall with me and then like get fucking mega killed by Nightman. So basically, I'll tell her to like, there's no way we can leave a note or anything, right? Because that would be what I ideally want to do.
If you want me to just stay outside, I can linger by June's, and if she comes through, I'll catch her before she gets to you.
I nod. Okay. I'm gonna go talk to Rat. How did Rat? Rat must be in the Rat wasn't in the gate.
You don't know.
I'll
you
go
do
to the
know.
mess hall and see if he's there.
Make me a perception check.
I'll just stick my head in that, because if he's not in, then I'll just fucking leave. 10.
10. It's kind of hard to see him for a second, as he seems to have like sequestered himself kind of like at the back, and it is he's got like his back to everyone else, and it's clearly sort of like he's clearly like counting something.
Yeah, I'm sitting down next to him.
Yeah, you approach him and sit down next to him, and he sort of turns to you and he gives you this like wide grin. As you can see, on the table is there's a small pile of gold. There are 2 coins that are a color you've never seen before, and there's the guy's fucking helmet. Like this beautiful, like ornate silver helmet with a little like gold trim on the end.
The silver hand man.
Yeah, the Alec kid.
Rat.
It's been a successful day. How has it been for you? How are you? How's my favorite future business partner?
You see, I had a rather successful day myself.
It's good to hear.
Yes, I just managed to acquire all 3 of the boss keys.
You see a sudden flash of like, oh fuck, but he like kind of keeps this merchant smile on his face as he goes, did you now?
It's a funny story, Rat. You see, because it seems you You've made a deal for me.
Listen, boss, it's not what it looks like. It was purely business. I didn't know that one of them belonged to all three of them.
I've been busy.
Ah, you're joking. My bad. I just got a really good deal, and I thought, oh,
I didn't
well,
realize you could target particular items like that, right?
well, I can for a cheap. I gives you a little grin. Just make me a quick intelligence check.
Yeah, sure. Crit 22.
Crit 22. It takes you a second looking at these coins, and as you're sort of looking at it, the two coins of a different color on this table, you realize they're platinum.
Yeah.
And there seems to be, like, collectively, without the helmet included, about 400 gold here. As he's sort of like guiltily sort of rubbing the back of his neck a little bit, and sort of like he kind of is still sort of sat cross-legged almost on the table as he's sort of like slowly scooping the stuff back towards him in his bag. Well, you know, the Silver Shield boy, he got me a good deal, and
I had
you
to
know,
kill a lot of things to get those keys.
well, he maybe had to kill a lot of things to pay me so well, especially for this helmet. It was real lovely. I'm sure you can catch him. Him and his little buddy and his old, you know, noble pals. They didn't go out too long ago. I'm sure you could come to some sort of arrangement. I'm not really a fighter. I'm more of a businessman at heart, and I pay good money for my services. I didn't know that they belonged to you. I don't get that kind of information.
I pick up one of the platinum coins.
Well,
Double or nothing.
yeah, roll me. Make the fucking check. You see just like a sheen as you like flip it into your hand, and as it like lands between two of you, like two sets of your fingers, in the other two sets, perfect duplicate, mirrored, but still functionally the same. You have two platinum pieces in your hand.
I put the original in my pocket, and I put the mirrored one back on the table.
You see him gulp.
Just like. And I just gained one platinum piece.
No hard feelings, right? This is a nice piece. I'd be willing to sell it to you as a minor compensation for our friendship for less than it's worth.
Right. I'm upset. But I still need armor. Can you get me armor without consequence?
My services have no guarantees for source materials.
I see.
I could get you armor.
And you couldn't recover the keys for me now, could you?
I mean, if you're bidding.
I look at him. I can give you double what you've been paid.
I know how that can turn out. I'd rather not have none of what I've been paid, and also be on your bad side. No disrespect, of course, but you said you've been good. You said you've been killing things. You could cobble together 500 gold. 500 gold, and I could get them back for you like that.
Rat, you stole them from me.
I sourced them from somewhere. I didn't know they were yours.
Well, no, you do.
I do.
I'm not
but
asking
listen.
to take any of your money. You can keep your gold. You can keep your platinum. You can keep that helmet. I just want my rocks back.
Listen, burden of exchange lands on the hirees. You're gonna have to take that up with the Silver Shield boy and the people that he's with.
Am I? Because if you bring them back for me, then we'll be good again.
You see, make me an intimidation check. I see, like you can see him starting to sweat. You're like fucking 4 times his size.
I like you, right? Genuinely. But I just can't have you stealing from me. Um... 12.
You see him sort of like he kind of brushes the gold into his like little sack to the side and sort of like shuffles it a little bit, like almost like you would opening a bag. Well, I mean, I suppose I could extend my services to a friend for a mere maybe just a mere platinum, but friendly price, of course, for at least one back.
Reasonable, I say. I take the platinum coin out and I slide it across the table.
Wonderful. He smiles and very like quickly dink picks it up, throws it into his bag at some speed. And then sort of like, all right, well, let's see what I can do then, shall I? And you see his little fingers go, and he reaches a hand into his bag. And as he focuses, you see a bright purple glow sort of like come from his bag as he is sort of like rummaging around, and you see like where he was sweating at first with nervousness, it becomes actually quite straining, it seems, as he seems to be like deeply searching around in his bag. For a second he's like and he pulls his hand back out and then dives it back in, and he's like not there, that could be, no, that's not it, and he sort of rummages around before there we go, and he pulls a couple times, really in there, and he pulls a third time, and there's a small sort of like almost like stony shink noise as purple energy trails off of this key.
Is it all 3 or just one?
It's just one of them, and he puts it on sort of the table, sort of shaking his hand. Well, there you go. One key for 1 platinum. That's pretty good, right? That goes towards my, redeeming myself, I must say.
Who would have thought of the way there, I say, as I pick up the stone.
Well, you see, about that, I have some limitations for the number of transactions I can forego before, I take some time to recuperate and check the books, if you will. I can't do it anymore. I'm sorry, boss.
I nod. Do you have any idea where that was?
Oh! If I did, I wouldn't have taken them from you to begin with.
Understandable. But was it in a bag, or was it in the wall? Could you tell?
He gives a shrug. It's not part of what I'm hired to do, I'm afraid. I'm merely acquisition.
Very well.
But very effective acquisition. Though I do have some limitations, I cannot do organic materials, if that's what you're wondering. I couldn't steal someone's heart. I have tried. Didn't work.
Raise an eyebrow like, you tried that.
He shrugs. I could probably put it back.
I see. Right. At some point, the men you sold this to might come back and ask, did you take it? I would highly advise you saying that you didn't, and that it wasn't me who bought it.
I will strongly keep that in mind.
Because I doubt that they would be well inclined to refrain from violence if they found out that you had betrayed them. But
Yeah.
I'm much more reasonable after being betrayed. I say. Not that you knew.
You're taking this real personal. I didn't know. I was. He said, "Hey, I give you some money. Can you get me these things? I got a real good description." I was like, "I'll see what I can do," and I did it. And he was like, "Damn, that's really useful. Can you do it again?" I said, "Well, for twice the price." And then he tried to get me to do it a third time. I said, "That's not quite enough gold to cover that." And he gave me his helmet, and I thought that was a good deal.
I kind of nod and I say, I understand. And it's because we're such good friends that I'm not going to push this much further.
Well, you know, I think I'm gonna go get on that bookkeeping. I think for the evening. You enjoy your key. I'll be sure to let you know tomorrow, sort of where I'm at. And he like very quickly scrabbles off of the table and like retreats.
Grab his arm and say, it's
You like grab the
okay.
back of his scruff and he's like, "What?"
It's
As he like clutches his
okay,
bag.
Rat. We're fine. I wouldn't hurt you.
I don't expect you to, but you know, deals go south all the time, real quick. Just because you say that, you never really can be too sure. But I do appreciate you talking first. That's real kindly of you.
I nod.
And if it happens again, just let me know. Maybe a little faster. Maybe maybe I could see a turnaround of compensation that make sure this doesn't happen again.
Rat, can you see the objects before you remove them?
I can feel them. I get a sort of idea for them, but not really much more than that. Why'd you ask?
I was just wondering if I could mark my things in a way that would mean you wouldn't take them from me.
Oh, yeah. If you carved a little something on there, made a little indent that I could maybe feel around for.
I nod.
I could do a little something like that. That's a real smart idea.
I'll think on this.
Mm-hmm.
And
he kind of slowly tries to pull away from your arm.
And,
he gives you a little, he gives you a little salute and he skedaddles. And he scampers away towards, the sort of, towards the cabins.
Excellent. Well, this is interesting. God damn it. Fucking rat. Okay. Oh, Jesus. Well, I guess he's got his money. He made profit, technically.
Mm-hmm.
Ugh, my plat. My poor plat. How much is a plat? 100 gold?
100 gold.
Oh, up and down so quick. The double knocking flex was quite fun. Let's go to. Did you like that? Did you like the double knocking there?
That was really fucking good.
I'm going to go. Is actually just looking around. Is Purple Woman here?
Oh, Imogen?
No, Imogen, not Imogen.
No? Pink-eyed lady? Maze?
Yes, Maze.
No, you know the rat said that Alec and all headed out with their little noble friends, which you can only assume,
Oh, must have been
seeing
them.
as must have been probably them.
Oh, what? Whoa.
Oh.
That's even worse than I
Mate.
expected. Oh shit, I could have killed them. I was kind of not going to worry about that. What's an extra 10 minutes? They'll be fine. They're strong and they're cheating. I'm going to go into... Oh. Oh, for God's sake. Ugh. They gave him the hat. Oh. She's fucking got them. Did he leave the helmet? Because he only took the gold.
He took the helmet with him, but he said you're welcome to come buy it from him.
Of course he fucking did. Okay, well, I need armor, but I can't trust fucking Rat to get me armor. Because that owner is going to show up and fight me.
You can trust Rat to get you armor.
Yeah, the question is...
You can't trust Rat to reliably source armor.
No, oh well. I've still got that goddamn key, and I genuinely do not know whose it is. I'm going to go to the... There's no one else notable in here, is there? I'll look around.
No, look around. It's mostly just like faces of people like who've already formed groups. No one like who's made themselves particularly like, no one who's been as loud as the other people you've run into.
In that case, I'm going to go and go into the quartermaster's office.
Yeah, wonderful. You sort of rig, and June sort of like turns around with an expression of like, for fuck's sake, is like, who's come to bother me now? But it immediately sort of like softens and becomes a much more open demeanor when he sees you sort of come in. And he goes, June, not June, sorry, Veer. It's been a long day. How are you feeling?
Busy day, I say.
Too busy. Between trying to keep Isla comfortable and the amount of people who've been coming in here pestering me for things.
Well,
but it's alright.
Hopefully I can fix one of your problems. And I present the red plant. The red empire.
Perfect. And in impeccable condition. Good job. These things tend to wilt pretty quickly after you pick them, so good job. I can whip something up with this. Here. And he begins to sort of like search around. And he pulls out another sort of like small healing potion and slides it towards you. I was these things go for a bit much. We get a bit of funding to go towards healing supplies here, but these things it's a little bit much to ask you to get it without any compensation.
My
if
friend's
I'm honest,
life is worth more to me than money at the moment.
Perhaps. But I was gonna see if I could get that technique out for you, just to help you along as much as I can. I seem to have lost the key for it though, so I'll have to find that later. And he picks up the plan.
I say, I pull the key out. This wouldn't happen to be it, would it?
His like eye bulges. Where did you find that?
Unbelievable. I mutter under my breath. There's somebody in the camp who can effectively randomly move objects, and humored them.
He nods and sort of like holds a hand up. I understand. I'll see if I can have the captain have a bit of a conversation with them regarding that. You see there's like no doubt in his mind that like you had any ill intention towards this. You seem to like suddenly be very much in his good books.
Yeah. Well, I hand the key back to him.
He pockets it. You can take the potion. I'll get that out for you in a moment. Come on to the back.
I do so.
You come in, you see sort of like Isla. She's still led in bed. She's like clearly been made like more comfortable, and you can see her sort of like arm is propped out to the side where clearly he's like been sort of like soothing some of the rashes with kind of like a more advanced pace than you usually use for your mother. It just seems to be like something of his own creation. And as he sort of like enters the room and sets the plant down, he looks across and he's like, "Who left that open?" You see some of the other like beds in here have clearly been used as he like walks over and shuts a window and sort of sets the curtains like nice and smooth again in his usual sort of like making sure everything in here is pristine. And he sets about preparing just like a small potion, and it's kind of fascinating. He has effectively like almost a small kiln looking contraption, and he sets about like taking apart these plants, almost like speed drying them. He grinds them into this like vibrant red dust, and over the course of the next sort of like 5 minutes or so, he sets about brewing effectively an amplified version of the glass flower sort of poultices that you use for your mother. And you see Isla. She's in sort of like it almost looks like she's having a bit of a nightmare where it's clear she's not like fully asleep, and she's sort of like swinging in and out of like a hazed, almost like feverish state.
I'm gonna hold on to her hand and give it a little squeeze and say,
Mm.
or like I would my mother,
Mm.
and I kind of get close and whisper, "Not long now. You'll feel better soon."
Mm-hmm. And you, as you sort of like squeeze her hand, you feel very like weakly a little squeeze back, as she almost like clings to that, and you're not sure if she's like fully aware. But soon enough, June sort of like comes along and has her sort of like tilts her head back a little bit and holds her nose as he makes her drink this little potion, gives her a bit of like a fond little pat on the head. She should sort of come to in a few minutes, and sort of goes back to the front of the stop. I'll give you a minute. Let me know when you're good to head out, and I'll find that book for you. And he gives
Before
you a nod.
You go, a little bit of good news. I don't know if you know much about my ability.
I don't think he mentioned it, no.
Well, a component of it allows me to erase objects. And fortunately, I think I can use it to keep my condition in check. You might have noticed, but I'm feeling a lot better.
He's gonna make me a little medicine check as he looks you over. You see he kind of squints and studies you. He walks over and sort of like proffers for your arm, and he sort of like turns it over, checks your sort of like veins, and seems to sort of like confused but accepting it, give a bit of a nod. That's fascinating. If you have the time to note down your experience and maybe the changes you underwent, I'd love to know a little bit more about that. I can only recommend that you still get it checked out, though, just in case, and to take it easy until you're absolutely certain. But
one of the others,
that
Smith,
is
mentioned in her hometown that there were a group of people who studied this kind of disease. She called them an endurophage. Perhaps they could help me figure out what's going on. But
he gives a bit of a nod.
Experience has been mild discomfort so far, and then the ramping build-up of energy. And without being able to disperse it, I can see why it would be a lethal disease. But it seems harmless as long as I maintain concentration to disperse the energy. It's worse when I'm in the dungeon, but out here it's reasonably tame.
Well, if that's the case, it might be worth you at least getting it looked at if you plan to pursue this as a career in the future, especially when you start jumping gates of different rank. Just make sure that you're not gonna walk into one and pop, alright?
I nod.
Good man. And he sort of gently sort of taps your shoulder and heads to the front of the the shop, and weakly sort of like squeezing your hand, you see sort of like smiling a little bit and still very hazy-eyed on the bed. Isla goes, "It would be really bad of you to pop."
Well, you should be worrying more about yourself than me.
I feel awful. I don't even know what really happened.
You've never been exposed to much energy, I'm taking. You got hit with spark blade.
Oh, jeez. Isn't that lethal? I thought.
It can be pretty bad. But you're still young enough that it's not the end of the world for you. I managed to find a little flower to make you feel better. And it's probably worth thanking the old cult master for saving you.
She smiles and sort of like shuffles back against her pillow a little bit. Oh, thank you. I am really sorry I've been so much trouble. And you've been here the last 2 days squeezing my hand. Jeez, I must have really burnt your time in the dungeon.
2 days?
Hmm.
You've only been unconscious for an evening? Well, almost a day now.
Oh. I could have sworn. Oh, I don't know. She sort of puts a hand on her head and rubs her temples a little bit. I could have sworn you've been squeezing my hand this whole time.
I looked towards the window that was open.
Hmm?
And I think to myself, was somebody else here?
You think this, and she seems to sort of like, just not really acknowledge it and almost like chuckle a little bit to herself.
Okay, I'm back.
Oh, welcome back, welcome back. She seems to like smile and chuckle to herself a little bit. And she sort of like just looks down a little fondly at her hand, I think, a little bit. But she does sort of like start to prop herself up a little bit, and though she sort of seems a little woozy, she shakes her head a bit. I think I'll be all right to be on my feet in maybe an hour or so. I hope I didn't cause too much trouble.
No. Maybe it was your ability. Maybe you saw futures where I wasn't as fast. I smile.
Oh, jeez. Maybe. Well, you were as fast.
I'm just glad that you're feeling better. You can join us again soon. Now you've had it, you shouldn't be able to get it again, so you should be good to go.
Let's just not jump headfirst into slimes this time, huh?
Exactly. Well, a few things have changed, and we've met some friendly people that you might like to be introduced to. I'll catch you up on it, but I'm afraid there's somebody waiting to speak to me. That's a matter of time urgency. Do you mind waiting? Well, actually, no. I'll wait with you for a few minutes until you're able to get up, and then.
I won't. I can tough it out. She says as she tries to like, sort of shuffle out of the bed. You can tell she's still kind of like very unstable, but doesn't seem like immediately nauseated.
Careful, I say. I don't want to undo any of the good we've just done.
That's very fair. Maybe I'll just sit here for a moment. How's Nikki? She was pretty badly bruised up as well.
Nikki's fine. Nikki's okay.
Oh, phew. Alright, well, just give me a minute and I'll be right with you, alright?
Okay.
And she sort of takes a little glass of water from off the side and begins sort of like sipping at it.
I'll call for June. to let them know that they're awake.
Yeah, June comes in and they sort of like smile, and he sort of jokes with her a little bit about being sheltered, basically. And she laughs it off a little guiltily. But he gives her sort of like a check over and a small nod, and is like, "This is pretty much as I can do. Just take it easy. Try not to get stabbed again. I don't make
Good
me spend
advice.
any more ingredients on you two."
And as he says that, I will pull out the candle bulbs. I think it's worth mentioning, as I produce 4.
Yes. Come. And he sort of gestures you towards like the front of the shop. They're worth 23 gold each.
Yo.
As he will take all 4 of your bulbs, and you see he very skillfully like cracks them open with a small device and begins sort of like counting out and weighing out small bags of the little fruits inside.
June, do you know if consuming any of these plants out there would have any positive effects for me? I assume they're valuable for some medical reason or another.
Yeah, he kind of like seems a little conspiratory for a second, and then again seems to sort of weigh it and soften. Generally speaking, not great to tell the people that are collecting your herbs the benefits of eating them. Well, I suppose I'll make a bit of an exception. They're not as potent as if they were refined and used, but you can eat some of them. You've probably seen mangleberries, and he like rummages around and he pulls out the small little kind of yellowy bobbly berries. You eat them, they'll rejuvenate you a little bit, so they'll give you a D4 health.
Okay.
He goes through the list, and he will tell you that blue funnel shroom, they are like a small blue mushroom. They're pretty harmless to eat. They'll make you glow a little bit, which a lot of people, they're actually quite popular for like high like, I don't want to say high level, but like high quality perfumes, kind of. It's kind of like a bit of a body
like
shimmer thing going on.
Yeah.
There is hoax fruit, which they're very spicy, but if you can withstand that, they can have like a minor sort of damage bonus to physical attacks. There are the Surtur spores, which you traded in a little while. Really hard to harvest, but if you manage to sort of harvest them and extract the spores, they can have quite a potent intoxication effect. But they've been known to act as quite sort of like potent learning enhancements. So they can increase your comprehension by a varying amount. But he notes that like taking too many of them can be pretty detrimental. They're addictive, he says.
Oh.
There are black vines, which drain. I mean, are you looking to trade that in? They are very, very useful in pill making. They drain all of your spark, and you see he's definitely like not saying something. They're known to be quite like potent rules on internal power stores.
They wouldn't happen to increase your tolerance, would they?
Not for spark, no. That's a different plant that I severely doubt you will find in a D-rank dungeon. They can temporarily bolster your physical traits. By a minor amount. They are incredibly valuable and much better off refined. If you are interested in trading them in, they go for 30 gold.
How much would refining, like getting the refined product, cost?
Depends on the alchemist.
Are you skilled in that department?
I am skilled in that department, minorly so. With the equipment I have out here, it would take some time, and exactly how much gold do you have on you?
382. So.
You see, he sort of like rubs the back of his neck. Shit. Well, for 200 of them, I can cook you up something a bit special. I can only make temporary. bolsters.
Hmm. Anything that's more permanent?
Not from me, I'm afraid. You'd have to get the healing experts up in the high temples for something like that.
Hmm. And what about
That's beyond me, I'm afraid.
What about all skills?
Hold on. You see he reaches down and he checks a book. I might be able to make something very temporary that helps with all.
Hmm. It's okay. I was just more curious on permanent improvements, so I can, I don't know, try and progress. Be
They
better.
exist. I'd like to say that maybe talk to some rich friends you might be able to make here, but it's not really that simple. The High Temple is a place that doesn't much care for money more than skill.
As he says that,
They're-
I smashed the plant core open.
Yeah, one of the candle bulbs.
No, the like not the candle bulbs. Fuck
Plant
me. No,
core?
I sold those to him. I meant,
Oh, sorry, yes, the plant monster core.
yeah,
Sorry,
sorry,
not
plant
the
monster
not that.
core.
Yeah,
What the
yeah.
fuck? No, I wouldn't do that to June.
You just fucking like crush one of the bombs you just sold him. He's like, bro, what the fuck?
Why?
I don't know. I just thought you chose violence for a moment.
No.
Yeah, roll me 2d6.
Yeah, that's it. Oh, that's hilarious. Yeah. 9.
There are 9 high quality tier 1 fragments inside. And for all 3 of the little the like vine clusters, there's a d6 of standard. So you can roll 3d6 standard.
Okay. Okay, +6.
Nice.
Is standard normal?
Yeah, standard is the normal
Okay.
quality ones,
Uh,
which I believe have 20 spark in them.
Yes, I think you're probably correct.
Right. Before you skedaddle, then, here you've and a couple other people have picked it up already. So, he will take the key that you gave him and go to the little cupboard in the back, and open it up and pull.
Sorry, I'm just going to sign the black vine as well. If that's okay.
Okay.
Well,
What's the most?
it's 30 gold, so I can factor that in.
And he will pull out the small sort of technique book. It's a small red sort of like dusty leather technique book. You can tell that there's like maybe a couple copies of this that potentially have been given out. And I will.
So that would be amazing. Then I have a question for him. And a question for you.
There you go. Sorry, I'm just I'm grabbing the thing for you. It reads Intuitive Sparring.
Ooh, that's pretty hype.
Is the title of it.
Intuitive sparring. Oh, ho.
And he hands it over to you. You had a question?
You had a reserve of shards, correct?
A small one, yes.
Yes. What's
For,
the smallest denomination of shard you possess?
The smallest denomination, low quality ones?
Mm-hmm. I assume you have the most of those.
Yes. You mean, I see. Let me see. We have a small, sort of a collection of pristine quality shards, and a couple of tier 2 shards, although we are reluctant to hand those out.
Sorry. Perhaps I'm not being clear. What I mean to ask is how your low quality shards,
Fragments,
that
yes.
hold
10 spark.
10 spark. How many do you possess?
How many? A couple hundred?
A couple hundred.
Well, there are more coming in constantly. People who want to purchase things and don't necessarily want to trade in some of the herbs they've found or haven't been so fortunate as to find them, they've been trading in and trading up some of the spark shards they found. So as the week goes on, we'll have a bigger and bigger influx.
And there's no difference between a pristine spark shard versus 4 low quality spark shards in your mind?
No, I shouldn't think so.
I see. And you can't get smaller denominations?
Well,
Worse
if you
than low
can,
quality.
not for easy consumption. There are probably things that contain less spark, but not that are like publicly common. I'm sure that, the artificers of Manacle and Gear could probably create something that could hold maybe a single point of spark, but if that's something you're looking for, you won't find it here, I'm afraid. Why'd you ask?
I was just thinking about something. Do you want to know out of character why?
You can tell me, go for it.
Out of character why is because I'm looking to exploit rounding errors. In the sense of, let's say that I take a shard, and because what I really want right now is Genesis Spark, okay? Because Genesis Spark is just POG. It seems to be the fastest way for me to grow outside of techniques. So, to get Genesis Spark, like the most Genesis Spark as possible, like the only thing that's gating me from having infinite Genesis Spark is the fact that I am building up Reflection Spark really fast. But what I could do is try and deal with rounding. So it always is 10%. But the question is, what's 10% of 1? Does that round to 1 or is that rounded to 0?
It'll be rounded to 0. That would be the same as using Realm 1 abilities, where they cost so little spark that it just
you gain basically nothing.
Yeah.
Okay, right. So in that case, I don't see that much of a difference between me just using any kind of fragment then, because they're all the same denominations. There's no real cost difference to my knowledge, so there's no reason why I shouldn't use pristine over other things, other than the amount I gain. Because if I put 40 in, I get 4 Genesis Spark out, which is painfully little. It's much more efficient for me to just go sit in the other realm. And I do plan to sleep in there tonight, I think.
Oh, okay.
Only because I just get so much out that it would be almost silly for me not to. Because and again, to preface this, why it's so crazy, it would be the equivalent of what would that be?
200 Genesis Spark.
Or
Reflection Spark.
Yeah, 200 reflection. So it'd be. Oh my god, I'm so stupid. 20 pristine fragments. But 20 pristine fragments, that sounds bad because you consider that's 800 gold. But then it's even worse because then you consider wait, but then you have to get rid of the spark so you don't die, and that takes time slots to remove. And then you start to think holy shit, that's going to take so long. And that's why
crazy. If only someone had a technique that could manipulate spark and teach you how to do stuff like that. That's wild.
Hook me up, bro. Hook me up. Okay, actually, do you know what? Fuck that. Yeah, let's do it. So I take the technique. I thank them a lot. I ask them, do they have any healing supplies that I could buy?
Yes, they do. They have healing potions. Let me go find the quartermaster.
Potion seller.
Potion seller. Where are they?
Consider very pog.
So they had I believe they were 2d4 plus 2 healing potions. Were they?
I think they were plus. I feel like there was a +6 to them, but maybe I'm wrong.
No, it was 2d6 plus 2 for 10 gold. He also lets you know that he has a minor regeneration elixir for 18 gold, which
Yeah.
is a d6 plus con for the next 3 turns.
A d6 plus con.
Mhm.
For the next 3 turns.
Yep. So he can produce you these. Let me pull them in lore for you.
Because I get an average of 9 from that, and then a d6 is 3.5 plus 5 for me, which is already 8.5. Yo, yeah. Tell me what the prices of those are. 18.
So it's 18 gold.
Oh yeah. I'm gonna 100% take that. I think Wait, is that worse? Am I insane? Hold on. That can't be right. Hang on. 2 times 2 plus 2. Yeah, it's an average of 9 for the top one. And then the second one is 3.5 plus 5, 8.5. But then 8.5 times 3, 25 over 9. It's 2.8 times better, and it's only 55% more expensive. I would like to buy that.
How many are you looking for?
Shit, man. These are good. Get me like 10.
Sure. You can see he's been like stocking these. This is kind of his job, and he pulls out a small little crate. There's like clinking as he basically puts a small like crate of these potions on the table for you.
180 gold.
Yeah, he'll take that happily and sort of pop that away under the counter.
Can you send me that as raw text so I can put it in my notes?
Yes. Give me a
Thank
second.
you very much.
You are welcome. If you're interested in more things like this, then you should probably check out the Confederation building once you get back to town. I have supplies from all over the place there. You'll probably find some things from alchemists over in Temple sort of stored there if you're looking for some more advanced stuff, but I'll warn you, prices do hike.
What was that, sorry? Who would I have to go talk to that?
In Day Grace, in the Gateseekers sort of Confederation building, they have supplies for Gateseekers and all kinds of things in there.
Of course. I nod appreciatively. Pocket the book. Pocket my gold. Nod, and I don't know. How's Isla feeling?
Yeah, Isla's sort of like coming out of the room as you're just sort of like finishing up. She seems a lot better. She's always kind of like pale. That's kind of just her complexion, but she seems like back to sort of like her bubbly self. She stumbles a little bit, but it's you think that's just general Isla clumsiness.
All right.
As she sort of comes out. Oh, thank you, June. I'll make it up to you. I'll make sure to bring in some good plans. He gives her a little nod to see that you do.
And then I think what I want to do is go and talk outside to the others.
You head outside to find the others, but I think for today we'll end the session here. Thank you for playing. I'll see you next session.
I gotta look away when you're staring me down with daggers. I'm not sure what to say, but no matter what, it don't matter. The comical light got me wide-eyed this time. I touch your tongue tied. Go ahead and make up my mind. Ooh, lips are turning blue. Chemicals in you, trying to take me out of my body. won't you say why? Know you got plans, but I got the time. Heard you told a friend, now I gotta mend a little bit more than we like to pretend. If it's alright, won't you say why? Tell me your sins and I'll tell you mine. Heard you told a friend